When your business reaches a certain scale, challenges begin to surface. You deserve a tailored solution, and that's NetSuite. Learn more when you download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist absolutely free at netsuite.com/herd. That's netsuite.com/herd. Diana Rossini, who broke that story on Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, she's coming up here in about 20 minutes. Let's go to Aaron Rodgers for a moment. Yes, I'm finally saying his name again. Just so disgusted with some of the stuff that guy's done to the New York Jets. Not that he's ruined them. I mean, he's trying to fix them. It's a terrible franchise right now. You guys know I talk a lot, those of you who listen to my podcast, I talk a lot about like dad life stuff, and it seems to resonate. When people come up to me, like at a Lakers game or wherever I am, the guys who are like, Jay Mack, they know me from the herd. People who come up and are like, oh, Jay, what's up, man? Who are like a little more, they know me from the podcast because they're listening to me while they're walking their dog or what have you. And I try to have my kids well-rounded, right? I don't just push them into sports, right? We got the academics, obviously. They're doing some chess, some dance, whatever it is to become well-rounded individuals. I myself grew up, I think I've told the story here on the show. Every day to start the day, I would get the sports page, the Washington Post. I'd pick it up at the bottom of the driveway, and I would just read the sports section. I didn't care what was going on in the national news. My dad's already texting me, did you see the speech last night? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm kind of locked in on sports a lot. So I do appreciate and think well-rounded is good. But then I look at quarterbacks, and I think, man, Tom Brady, that's a dude who was locked in. Do you guys remember the story during COVID where Brady needed to get in a workout with his guys? So he rallied them at some a high school football stadium in like Tampa or somewhere in Florida, and there were like helicopters circling, trying to catch a glimpse of Brady working out with his dudes. He was getting in workouts. Edelman sat here and talked about how Brady would fly Montana, Idaho, big sky country, and they would get in workouts and really get together on the same page. Like Brady was about that football, and he lasted forever in the NFL. So now it gets to Aaron Rodgers. And this week in whatever podcast Aaron Rodgers is talking to, which is what he seemingly does every week now, he gave an interview to someone named Eddie Bravo. Look Into It podcast with Eddie Bravo. And here's what Aaron Rodgers had to say. I got back on the practice field late in the season and couldn't get to a top speed sprinting, but really had been in a good place rehab-wise from the start and feeling really good. I'm hopeful I can play 2 or 3 or 4 more years, but you need to have some good fortune in there too. So I don't have any issues with Aaron Rodgers talking to a podcast every week, someone from the Joe Rogan cabal. He's like playing bow and arrows. He's talking to former punters. Like, I get that. That's his crew now. Those are his people. He's found his tribe. And that's cool. And Rodgers has a lot of outside interest from football. He's made that very clear. He's a do-your-own-research guy. Does he really want to elongate his career the way Brady did? Well, if he does, what he would be doing is locked in a room with Garrett Wilson and the wide receiving group, Alan Lazard, and he would be getting these guys on the same page. You want to play into your mid-40s? You got to kind of do what Brady did, right? Isn't that? I mean, look at LeBron James. He's going to be playing into his 40s. The guy doesn't put any food in his mouth that isn't authorized by his trainer. He is a specimen at this age. He's playing at one of the highest levels ever seen in basketball. Jordan couldn't do half the stuff LeBron's doing now at this age. Like, LeBron puts in the work. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers went into a darkness retreat. I think it was like this time last year, maybe a little earlier. And he was like, I might retire from football. Let's see what happens in the darkness retreat. And now you're saying you want to play 2 or 3 more, 4 more years? You know what this is, guys, right? We talk about it all the time. It's called misdirection. So what have been the stories about the Jets the last 2 weeks? Negative this, negative that. Mecole Hardman taking a dump on the Jets. They stink. Their organization's a joke. Nobody's on the same page. The offensive coaches stink. The special teams, blah, blah, blah. All negative. All. So Aaron Rodgers, in his leadership role, is now pivoting. Hey, everybody over here, jazz hands. I'm playing 3 or 4 more years. Talk about that. We'll talk about that on the herd, Jay. Don't talk about Mecole Hardman. Let's focus on me. It's all about me. Well, I've got some bad news for you, Aaron. Have you looked at the history of recent quarterbacks going into their 40s? Outside of Brady, right? Brett Favre. had that one really good year in Minnesota, threw the errant pass and cost him the NFC Championship game. You know what happened the next year, right? Injuries, 19 interceptions, career, done, over. Look at Kobe Bryant with the Lakers. Off the Achilles injury, and we all love Kobe, obviously. It was all about Kobe. The team paid Kobe. The team was awful. They were mired in the wilderness until LeBron pulled them out. Okay? Go look at the history of these quarterbacks in their 40s. I'm just telling you, coming off an Achilles, it ain't going to be easy. I'm obviously rooting for the Jets. I've rooted for them my entire life. My kids make fun of me. Wait, why do you root for the Jets, Dad? Oh, I was born in New York. So? They're terrible. Why do you do it? And this is what I do. I punish myself rooting for the team where I was born and haven't been to the playoffs in forever. Maybe Rodgers gets us there, but I'm dubious he gets them there this year. And then 2 or 3 or 4 more years, I got to see that one. Let's go to Alex Curry with the news. No. Welcome to The Herd. It's a spectacular Friday show. Jason McIntyre, that's me, in for Colin Cowherd, who's gallivanting in Chicago this weekend. Who knows what he's doing in the Windy City? I am joined today by Alex Curry. Alex, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm great. I'm fresh off a little vacay, so I am back, ready to hit the ground running. I also love how you intro, it's me, J-Mac. I'm here. We're here. We're going to have a great Friday. It's going to be awesome.
Remind people who I am. Alex and her, is that Dodger blue or Chicago blue? I don't know.
If we're going to go blue, I'll go Dodger blue.
Dodger blue, yes.
100%.
Obviously.
We're 2 weeks away from opening day.
Yes.
For Dodgers opening day.
And listen, baseball's getting exciting, NBA getting exciting. We've got to start with the NFL, Alex, because we've got some breaking news.
Yes,
Shocker.
We do.
I host the show. We get some breaking news. Last time it was Cam Newton, going toe-to-toe with him. Now we got Russell Wilson. Breaking news to start the show. Russell Wilson was in New York this week meeting with, drum roll please, the New York Giants. Yes, we don't know. They're calling it an exploratory meeting. And now Russell Wilson this morning spotted at the airport by the Athletics' Diana Rossini, who will be joining us shortly. Wilson's on his way to Pittsburgh today. Russell Wilson headed to Pittsburgh to meet with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. Now, we don't know who is recruiting who at this point. We'll get to that shortly. But it's funny. Russ has been through a lot here in the last 3 years. It's been a little topsy-turvy. And I saw a funny quote recently. A crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And let's be real, this is a crisis for Russell Wilson, who it seems like, folks, is kind of trying to get recruited to play for teams. We don't even know if he's a definite starter anywhere. We think he probably will be. But Russ has been through some turmoil the last few years. And I do want to be clear at the top, I'm not a Russell Wilson hater. Okay, I've defended him many times, and not just because people tell me I look like him in the right lighting. Okay, I like Russell Wilson. I think he's a Hall of Famer. He's been to 2 Hall of Fames, and I also need to add he has as many playoff wins, I believe, as Dan Marino, and more than several other pretty impressive quarterbacks. In the playoffs, Russell Wilson has been good. However,